Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, on behalf of your Denver-based podcast crew, we appreciate you joining us for the Friendly Vibes.
Coming to you live from TSS, it's Top Shelf Studios, baby, and boy, oh boy, am I excited for this one. I am always hankering to learn from those that have lived more life than I, and the man beside me has lived much more life than I. He is a father, he is a producer, he is a stand-up comedian, but he's just a nice guy in the 15 minutes I've gotten to spend with him so far. It's Lemmy Comedy here.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks for being
happy to be here, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're gonna got sparkling and
talk about my pancreas at some point in the next hour.
Oh man, let's why not go off the top with the pancreas? I've got family members, and my pancreas is going to go out on me someday. I've been kind of seeing it in the lineage. It's like, oh man,
you understand how it happens. Yeah. And that was a frustrating thing. Is like I
actually, I don't understand how it happens. Let me do.
You know what? I'm not sure either, because, and neither do the doctors, because. So, background for everybody, Sean very generously offers the guests their beverage of choice, which would normally have been for me either a beer, or I noticed you were drinking Woodford Reserve on one of your episodes. That is typically the high-end bourbon at most of the clubs in Denver and bars. That would have been one of my choices as well. And a year and a half ago, it was actually it was a Tuesday night, my first New Talent night at Comedy Works, 2 minutes. And my tradition is I'd go home, and whether things went really well or really bad, I would sit down, and my family's all asleep, and I would just pour myself a couple fingers of bourbon and a bowl of cashews. And cause I'm jacked up. Either way, I'm so, you're doing a set at 10 o'clock at night. You're not going to bed at 11, right?
Yeah.
And so I would sit down and sip and just think about it, and I'm home, I'm not drunk, and, I did that, Tuesday night. Wednesday is, Whiskey Wednesdays at my favorite bar in Evergreen. Colorado bourbon's half off. And so my buddy texted me from Evergreen. We went down there, and, years ago, my wife bought me an e-bike. So I'm not even testing the market with one beer. I am safe to go for drinking and driving. And I went down there, and he and I just bullshitted for like 3 hours. And, Heavy D, the bartender, we were just sampling every Colorado bourbon he'd pour me. But again, 3 hours, I was drinking water with everyone. And I don't know how much I had, but I was fine.
That's why the bike's itself. It's an e-bike.
Man.
Yeah.
And I'm now, I don't know if you had like a crazy old man in the town you grew up. Louisville? Is that where you grew up?
Yeah, Superior. Louisville.
Yeah.
So grew up in there, and then parents split and moved. Yeah. Okay. So half of the middle school, high school experience, I was commuting in from Brighton, Erie.
So you stayed in the high school. So
I did stay in high school.
So I am now the crazy guy in town that on his bike with the bell. It came with a bell. Bing, bing.
Yes.
So I'm ringing the bell, and
you're trying to make sure that trail law is enforced.
That's right.
Sorry. I'm sorry. There's a rule.
That's right.
It's codified.
Why can't we follow? It's not that hard. So, I'm home at 6 o'clock, and my oldest son was just coming home for the holidays. It was December 11, 2024. And I'm lying on the couch, and the stomach pain starts. And I'm like, let's take some antacids, some Pepto. I'm like, what the all right. So I drank a little bit. I had a bowl of chips. Not great, Well,
this initial pain, was it like a normal pain, or was it like a spot? Like,
it's a great question. It is. It was the whole lower abdomen.
Okay.
And it was rolling. Like for 15 minutes, it would be like 7, 8 out of 10. And then for 30 minutes, it would disappear, go back to 1 or 2. And then it kept going. And, I'm old. I've been through some stuff. And when my son was,
I don't know. How old are you? Can I ask?
I am.
I know that's a rude question.
I am Sunday through Saturday pillbox old. You know what I mean? I am. I'll be 59 in a couple months.
I hope I look as good as you when I'm 59. Come on now.
Sidebar. I've had 2 comedians, and they meant well. I'm not offended at all. 2 different comedians, 2 different times come up to me and say, you're older than my dad, but you look younger than him. I'm like, I'll take that. That's it. I can't control how old I am. I'm lucky to be alive. So anyway, my son, who's only been home for half an hour, and he's really the patriarch of the family now compared to me. And I'm just like, dude, you got to take me.
He's taking the throne?
St. Anthony's. Yeah, I'm giving him the throne. I'm forcing it upon him.
Yep.
And, So we went down to St. Anthony's and they gave me some pain meds. And the three things that can cause it generally are kidney stones, gallstones, or booze. And straight up. Yeah. Like pancreatitis, which is what I ended up being diagnosed with.
Okay.
So ultrasound, no kidney stones, no gallstones. They start questioning me. And I did not lie. All right. I said, so I retired as a firefighter, for a career firefighter. I kept being a volunteer February 1 or 2, 2020. And my plan was,
after how many years?
Total of 8.
Wow.
I got into it very late. I was 54 years old at this point. My body was starting to break down, and I was going to drink
from the perfect time to start being a firefighter as far as the body's concerned.
Is it 40? I started at 46. I couldn't believe they took me.
What a pro!
Yeah, and
that's a cool life. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, no, it was. I'm proud of when I started as a volunteer in Evergreen, which was the largest all volunteer department in Colorado, and then absolutely fell in love with it after running 100 calls, and started the process of trying to get a professional job, which required getting my EMT at Red Rocks, taking all these like municipality standardized tests, and 6 months before my 50th birthday, I got hired in Eagle, and then 3 years of that, plus I would come home and still be a volunteer. And after a while, I was like, oh, I'm starting to hurt,
Yeah.
But so anyway, so I go into St. Anthony's, they do the ultrasound, and I told them, I said, from February 1 until December 11, 2020 to 2024, just so we're clear, I drank every day. But 2 beers, maybe 2 glasses of wine, different nights. And once a week,
I'm switching alcohols. Yeah. I'm switching styles.
All
like I'm
once,
trying. Hey, they say I'm supposed to confuse my body. I'm trying to confuse my body. Keep my.
And by the way, that is my theory about drugs. We can get into if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah,
but
okay, so you were just brutally, like most people aren't. And I had a spinal fusion.
Yep.
And I had to be really honest with the doctor about my medical marijuana usage because anesthesia is really I could die if I'm not honest.
Really?
Yeah, because they're going through the front flow, fishtail, picking through the bits, right?
Yeah.
So, like, complicating factors, I had to be, like, upfront about the fact that I'm going under for so long and that I take marijuana and that my neurons are, my neural pathways are changed by my medical marijuana usage.
Got it. Okay.
So, similar to you, brutal honesty, because I might die if I'm not honest.
That's it. And so I told him, I said, and every once a week I'd sit down and have a couple bourbons, and
he's like, that's what's getting you.
Yeah, no. And so one of the docs was a total douche, and I ended up going to my general practitioner like a couple months after I got out of the hospital, and he said that this European, like probably Russian, maybe Eastern European, he starts yelling at me. He's like, I told him, I said 2 drinks a night, every night for the last 4.5 years. He's like, do not lie to me. I cannot help you if you lie to me. And basically his point was, thank you, sir.
No, I'm trying to be stupid. I'm trying to think about these things like
the little things.
Little things like this.
Yeah, it's good.
I want to be able to cut a nice tight shot of you, and I don't want the brand in there.
Oh shit! It is reversed. That is the first thing you see.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway.
Sorry.
No. We're gonna get this out of the way.
When I'm having to play all the roles.
I feel you. I did self-produce one of mine, and all of a sudden I realized all this shit was on the back wall behind my head. I'm like, I didn't even think of that. Didn't need the centerfold from 1986 Playboy, on the wall behind me. So
doctor says,
do not lie to me. I'm like, dude, you are and by the way, when you start in the ER and then go over to the hospital, you see a new doctor like every 8 hours, and they ask you the same questions. And I told them the same story every time. There was one guy, he was super nice. He's listening to me and he's like, yeah, that shouldn't have caused an acute pancreatitis attack. Like most guys that come in here, they just knocked off a handle of vodka, And I'm like, yeah, I haven't done that in my life, And so who knows? But it's acute pancreatitis, which means you had it one time, you have it again, and now you've got chronic pancreatitis, and that puts you in the ballpark for pancreatic cancer, which is
That's when I spoke earlier about my family's connection.
Yeah.
That's what I've been exposed to.
Yeah, and that's a terrible go. So right now it was like smaller meals and all this stuff just to make.
What is the pancreas even doing for us? I think you're older and wiser.
It produces something important like
it's like insulin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, I looked into it almost immediately. This is how mental I am. Again, not an addict, but absolutely love drink. I love wine with dinner. I love sitting down for a
And
bourbon.
mostly it's either as a social or a relaxant.
100%.
Yeah.
To go down to, and I'm almost an empty nester. And my vision for my retirement was to go down to Revival every day at 3:00 with there's nothing but old timers down there, 70s, 80s, and just sip and bullshit, and now I can't.
You're going to be even more upset by the news that came out yesterday. Did you see the Supreme Court's ruling?
No.
Home distillers celebrate. The Supreme Court has ruled that home distilling
For
is
making your own bourbon?
Federally, you can make your own alcohol for your own consumption in your own home.
Yeah.
And they've decided that it's been that if they were to apply the logic they've applied to stilling at home,
Right.
you'd have to shut down work from home and other things. And so the Supreme Court's like, no, enough of this.
Fascinating.
So that's awesome for people like my stepdad. Terrible for people like you that would have been totally into that.
Yeah.
And you're,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
anyway.
maybe, hey, you could be a personal consumption guy where you have buddies over and you're experimenting, and it's like a black box thing where you're an even more of a bourbon scientist because you don't even get to taste the thing. You only
Right.
get to hear the feedback.
That's it. Yeah, well, like Ted Danson in Cheers, he was that was his life.
There you go.
I'll get there. And again, it's just a disappointment of
Gosh.
God damn it, I didn't even
Go hard in
go
the
that.
paint.
I didn't go hard in the paint as I should, and if I'd have known now, But so that's my Pancreas story, and
so the only thing that you can really do to avoid the second flare up, which leads to the chronic or put you in the chronic category, is just not drink.
not drink. I'm even.
And there's no blood test they do 10 years down the line to be now you can drink.
So that is a fabulous question. And I even rationalize. I'm like, okay, if my acute was because of a really pussy kind of foray into this disease, I bet I'll heal up after 6 months. And so I have tried. I've gone back and I have had a half a beer without issue. And then there are other nights. It's so weird. It's almost like my one son has a tree nut allergy. If it touches his tongue, he knows that he ate a bar. He's an adult, but he looks at, but sometimes
he senses it.
Instantly.
We're smart. We have more of an animal part of our brain than the modern world lets us tap into.
100%.
Yeah.
And so there are nights when I've had a half a beer and I'm fine. And there are other nights where I'll have 2 sips. I'm like, I feel it, just a little discomfort. What happens is the pancreas inflames. And that's what causes the pain. And it actually blocks the exit from the abdomen. And so the acids just build up in your stomach and you start burping like crazy. And so
Backs up the whole channel.
Yeah, it's it, man.
Whoa.
And so I've looked up
Are the
enzymes
burps
you can
gross?
take.
Are the burps extra gross?
They're not good. They're not good.
Okay,
And
okay.
and that is like a sign. You should be
okay.
farting. That's that'd be the good news. If you're passing gas, you're okay because it's going all the way through. When you start belching from almost nothing, you've gone too far.
Fascinating. So you have a free fart around the house card.
Pretty much.
Healthy, honey.
No, I get that. Have you been drinking? From my wife 30 years.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
maybe science will advance and they'll come up with some.
Oh, yeah.
Some.
Well, I looked into pancreas transplants and
My thought was no. Oligarchical capitalism will fix the problem in that the alcohol companies there'll be enough
That's it.
people that end up in this type of a bucket, and
Right.
that's profit they're losing.
Right.
So they're going to find a solution for that.
or one billionaire comes down with it and they just they'll solve it for themselves.
There you have it.
There's got to be something pretty soon like cell regeneration and stuff like that. I'm a nerd about that stuff. So I just have to live long enough for it to happen.
Or kick yourself into one of those elite categories or whatever.
Yeah.
But then, I don't. Yeah.
Well, I tell my 2 sons, my oldest boys are science guys professionally and educationally. And I always tell them any, what do you call them? Studies that you have to sign up for, just send them to me. I will try anything at this point.
The clinical trials.
The clinical trials.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. You're-
lemur semen, whatever it takes,
Yeah, yeah.
inject it into my veins. I will try it.
Found a new animal, extracted serum.
That's right.
Well, that's enough talking.
A new plant from Brazil. I'll eat it. I don't care.
Yeah, hell yeah. What fields are they in?
They are
Science fields. you
Yeah,
said.
they were biomedical engineers educationally, and now they ended up in to design implants like you had, and
Yes.
and I had total shoulder replacement surgery. surgery from Zimmer Biomet. You kind of need a PhD to design those, and they just didn't want to spend another 8 years or whatever in school. So they end up in biotech, which they like. Drugs are, it's someday we'll see, you know?
Well, I mean, biotech just is on the head. It seems like, you don't have that long, like, tranche through the becoming a doctor.
Yes.
In any field, that's a tranche. And also, like, there's a sales role, typically. Or there's some advancement, or you're working in an emerging field, you know? That's exciting for young people.
Regulatory stuff, corporate development strategy, partnering with other companies. And so they're close to the science that they love without, going to college until they're, 32, which sounds like your wife is doing.
Yeah. I mean,
What's her triple? What you doing?
I'll be honest. I probably should have told you this before we started. I don't talk about her because she works in a sensitive field. She won't find her on my Instagram. Like some people are like, well, you're married? I don't even know.
Yeah.
The reason is just because she's trying to do way more important, meaningful work than I. Yeah. And I'm doing this silly little thing where I do an internet show and want to be a comedian.
Right.
On top of my day, so I probably shouldn't jeopardize her meaningful work for the world over my silly work. So that
respect her ambition and her requests, and
just try and do that.
That's fine. Yeah,
especially since she's working with kiddos and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely.
But so it's hard. It's hard for me to have to throw that roadblock in there.
That's okay.
Because I would love to have us back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm interested. How long have you been married? I think I watched some of your content. It's like coming up on 30, is it?
Coming up on 30. Good job in November. Yeah. Were you born in 96?
Look at me go. It's almost like I did research, kind of. I was born in 97.
97. So we were married in 96.
Where'd you get married?
Monterey, California. We were living in California at the time, met in graduate school, and just stayed there for 10 years, got married, had our first couple kids. And school's a great place to, meet somebody, even if it's graduate school.
My parents met at Iowa State.
Did they really?
Yeah.
It gets harder when I don't know, maybe it doesn't, but school's too easy because there's so little pressure and you're out having fun and you're barbecuing every weekend. And so, we lived in Manhattan Beach and
that's like the best time era of it too, right?
Yeah.
Or correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so. It was like before it went, NBA professional athletes. When I was there in 92, 93, 94, you could walk into any bar or restaurant in town in your volleyball shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops. And it was cool.
In my head, I wasn't alive, but I see that in the American historical arc as the golden era of Manhattan Beach in California, because it's like the 60s of California was that early 90s period.
That's a great insight. And there were a lot of people from the 60s that still live there that influenced the culture. You had the Pro Beach Volleyball Tour was just taking off and getting big, and they'd have tournaments in front of your house.
So
and then
cool.
and then you'd go to the 12th Street Bar and Grill, and they'd be in there after the tournament, and you'd chat them up. A lot of guys your size.
Is this Marlowe era? This would be later than Chris Marlowe era, right? He's the only big time volleyball person that I know. The play-by-play commentator for the Denver Nuggets. But he was a USA volleyball guy. But I think he's 80s or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember some of the guys. The guys that were making it when I was there also were big into the swag. They came up with the beach brands, and I can't remember any of their names. But he was a little older. I got there in 91.
So did you play volleyball yourself then?
I picked it up while I was there.
Did you surf?
I could, but not great.
Okay.
I'm much more. I did date a woman who was a surfer. She grew up on the Strand, and she put me on a longboard a little bit. And
how long is a longboard?
Your length.
Being born in Santa Cruz, I should probably know.
Did you really?
I'm a cognitive Colorado native. They plucked me here, before I was even.
Yeah.
So, born in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, longer than you, I think. And
good luck bouncing. Is it your first time?
Yeah.
Wow.
So a little bit of a lot of beach volleyball, which was just fun and great exercise. And when you were done, you just barbecued and drank and watched the sunset.
Have you always been an outdoorsy guy? Or are you an outdoorsy guy?
I am.
I guess I should.
It's funny if we say I think right after we met, we decided we wanted to live in the mountains, and we'd go to Northern California, the Gold Country, and Yosemite in the winter, which was great. But we always wanted to live here in Colorado. But life just kind of kicks you around, and we had 2 different careers going, and then 2 kids, and then a third and a fourth. And then finally, I had a business with a guy and I shut it down. We were in Northern Illinois going, what are we doing here?
What kind of business?
It was a investment management company. I've been a comedian now. Before that, I was a firefighter. This is my 3rd act. And before that, I was kind of a finance accounting guy.
Nice. That's what my day job is.
Is it really?
Yeah, I work for a small family, like private equity firm, small family office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did mutual funds for 5-6 years, and then I was in the hedge fund world for like a dozen years.
Wow.
And before that, I was doing kind of corporate finance and in-house M&A for a big company. But it wasn't like a passion or pursuit of mine. I just kind of kicked a can down the road. Like when I went to college,
where'd you go to college?
I went to Tufts. So
Tufts, I know Tufts.
You dropped Division 3 in one of your podcasts.
Tufts has an amazing ultimate frisbee program. They've had a great program for probably the last 25 years or something. Like they're one of the Tufts and Carleton are like known as like, places that ultimate frisbee happens and perpetuates. Like,
is it a sanctioned sport? Like
it is a club sport. Part of that, I think, historically has been the freedom that allows not being linked to the NCAA.
Yes.
Also, they typically have tournaments that are played on Sundays, and the NCAA just doesn't let people do Sundays.
So this is an interest of yours? Is a hobby of yours?
So I played football and basketball and whatnot growing up. Right. I was on an 8-year-old team when I was 7. I was hoping my producer would come because I found an old DVD down at my dad's house of our highlight tape from our 12-year-old team.
Incredible.
That I'm going to rip and find something to do with because we got to make something funny out of that.
Yeah.
There's got to be funny there.
Yes.
Anyway, football, basketball. Freshman year, I play football in the fall, play basketball in the winter, and I'm not awesome at either. I'm like, I'm big, but I'm fat and slow. I was Nikola Jokic. I wish he was in the league so I could have something to aspire to. I could see the game, but I'm not athletically gifted whatsoever. And then I found Ultimate, and our high school just happens to have like a nationally ranked team, and instead of just one team, we've got 4 teams down to D. Like,
wow,
it's like we go to Chicago and Oregon twice a year to travel, and so I just like fell in love, and myself and a bunch of other dudes from other sports were like, yeah, this other primary sport thing is just like not worth the trouble. I'd rather like blaze bud and like throw plastic and be like competitive to still get that itch of like going hard, but also like, toss some plastic. And so we had a unit, and we almost 4-peated. My senior year in Colorado. For states. But I had like a layout play, defensive play that a foul was called. I got the disc first, and then I landed on the guy, and the guy called a foul, and then it's all self-officiated. So this is one of the things that they've changed in Ultimate Frisbee. The foundation of the sport is like spirit of the game. Spirit of the game is the most important thing, and that allows the game to happen. Right. Mutual. It's like something I wish I could put in pill form and give to everyone, because it would help the world so much, because it is understanding that the only reason that you get to enter the arena to enjoy competition is because your competitor is there with you. Yeah. And that mutual respect for your competitor and you meeting in this arena, we don't need other people. We can come to decisions about calls and self-officiate. Right. Well, this ends up being a problem when you get to the like state finals and you've got people that are like want to win no matter what, and maybe they're gonna like sacrifice some morality for a dub. Right. So we lost the game, but it got ticky-tacky down to the point of like we're calling fouls until we win type of thing from the other team.
That's brutal. It's like pickup basketball. I mean,
it's like pickup basketball, and it's a really amazing, magical thing when the right people are playing together. Yeah.
Very zen. I noticed. I heard you mention that in one of your podcasts about infusing that into our government leadership a little bit. Would be
I think all of them, instead of having to sit on an island, they should have to sit in a Zendo.
That's the third party we need. Not independent, not libertarian, just the Zen party.
Yes. Let me give my money to that.
Get my vote.
At least it's going to comfy chairs. I'll tell you what, I filed taxes this week. This will be in the past, but man, it felt terrible being like a young American who, like, I'm not saying this from an egotistical level, like works their ass off, has worked like probably 60 to 80 hours a week the last year.
Right.
And I have to pay more taxes at the end of this.
Yeah.
So that you can buy bombs to hurt kids.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
fuck that, man.
Yeah.
That really makes me riled up.
As it should. And it makes me...
Not to take us into that vein, but like, man, that sucked this week.
Yeah. No, I know.
Someone as a moral compass, I like have to think about that as I'm like filing and like paying that money that
Yeah.
Brutal.
And we don't have universal health care. Mexico's rolling out universal health care, I just read this morning. And, Israel has universal health care and education and things. And
funded from us, by the way.
Yeah,
Don't take too deep into that.
No, funded by us. And we're being just told publicly, we can't afford Medicare and Medicaid and childcare. We gotta fight wars. So I'm like, no, we don't. No, we don't, man. This is insanity. So
we do not have to fight the wars.
No, we don't. No.
Can't we spend the money on the front end to like have the weapons? Yeah, you already do. Like, don't fight the wars. You've got the supremacy. The hard power's there. You don't have to show the hard power.
Right. Right.
It makes me real, like, I want to be a hopeful, optimistic person because I've spent so much of my life dealing with thinking I'm not, I'm just going to log out of the game.
Yeah.
Like, not needed in this game anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a dumb place to be stuck in.
Yeah.
And I would love to find a way to apply my passion and make a meaningful change for other dudes that find themselves there. Because I don't think, and this is a dumb take, but like I do think that like there's a lot of young dudes that are just getting like completely curb stomped.
Yeah.
And the repercussions of society and other things curb stomping them down mentally and whatever spiritually.
Yeah.
It doesn't come back well for society. And so I think just reading history and reading everything, it's like, wow, we should step up now.
Yeah.
And like intercept before these guys fly off the handle. Before you get these type of crazy lunatics that are starting fringe movements, blah, 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 blah. Like, cut them off.
Because there is no hope, and the number of years that go by that you fall behind, it just gets exponentially more difficult to catch up. And I agree. So the algorithm knows I'm in the same boat, and they showed me this. There's never heard him before, an Italian philosopher, Antonio Gramsci, and his famous quote is something like, intellectually pessimistic, emotionally optimistic. Like you have to, like, yes, I see the darkness, but I have to go forward anyway, and it's so hard to do. And I talk on stage. I have a joke I did about how, young people don't want to have kids, right? And every month it's in the news, fertility rates plummeting. And I have 4 Gen Z sons, and I've talked to my oldest son, who's 27 about it. And he's like, he and his friends talk about just like, how can I even think about, having kids when there is no health care. We're careening into a wall of fascism, and my sons are doing exceedingly well. The one who's doing the best, he's a tech guy. He's the most worried. Like every day he wakes up and sees Oracle laid off 30,000 people. And he's like, why do I even, it's just a matter of looking at his watch, just a matter of time. And
it's so scary.
I'm trying to push him to go, you can't think like that. It doesn't do you any good.
Yeah.
So just every day, get up, do the best you can. Depth and breadth of relationships with people when you get my age you find out are the only things that matter. And just work on that.
And what's funny is you can like read the research, because I did this foo-foo undergraduate dissertation in happiness economics, and I spent a year and a half reading and intersectionally trying to learn about this. And at the end of it, I'm like, oh, this data is meaningless because like that's the core thing.
Yeah.
And like all of it's pointing to that.
Yeah. And that's
like,
where you end up.
Yeah. And equations about how many people I'm bringing into my societal reference group and social media, all this doesn't really mean anything. Like you need to be able to like go down the street for a barbecue.
That's it.
Or whatever.
Have someone to call.
Yeah.
I've got I don't want to go super dark, but like, the suicide rate in this country, which has been just growing and growing and growing since the 80s. If you look at the detail, it's not actually teenagers. It's not actually women. It's guys in their 50s. And my guys, my friends. And
Can I tell you a sad story?
Please.
So this man, my Uncle Bill, he's no longer with us. We just came up on I believe it was the 5-year anniversary of his passing. He's like a father figure to me. Grew up in my house. He was like seriously like the best dude. Showed me the outdoors. Showed me how to have a sense of adventure and lean into it. I was working with him one summer as like an intern doing social media, actually building the first like iteration of their Instagram growth. Because Instagram was a newer thing. It was like 2012. And I was like, hey, you got to get on this thing. Like your brand's going to do good on this thing if you get on the thing. One afternoon he gets a call, and it's his sister, and it's like very clear from the instant he picks up the phone that it's not good. And it's that his dad had shot himself in the backyard. Yeah. And to be in the room to someone I loved, seeing the impact of it. Yeah. I shouldn't have ever continued to deal with that problem. Right. Just how impactful seeing the impact of suicide is. Right. And it's still a pervasive problem in my life personally. So extending that anecdote is like, oh yeah, like the ball is rolling down the hill and it continues to gain snow. Yeah, that's it. Like, and we're losing more and more men that are checking out of families and stuff. And like,
it's hard. I thought about it, like just kind of thinking about doing this podcast and having no idea that this would come up. I was trying to figure out why, and there's a host of reasons that they've pointed to, which I can relate to. And I saw in my dad, which is, that older generation, like you may have done nothing. You worked your whole life because you want to be a provider. And even if you hated your job and you hated your boss, you felt important and you felt a reason for getting out of bed in the morning, going somewhere, and then they lay you off, or they just ask you to retire. You're 57 and you have nothing to retire to. Maybe a late divorce in life. For me, I'm dealing with, my whole life was my kids for the last 27 years. And now the last one's about to go. And I'm sure my wife is probably thinking this, we haven't really talked about, we probably should, which is, wow, what is life going to be like with the two of us alone when we just dedicated everything to the kids, making sure they were good at the expense of our relationship, which I think about a lot. And so, those are things that all happen in your 50s. The health issues, I read one time that like something like 50, it was when Kurt Cobain committed suicide. And they said some people thought he had this undiagnosed constant stomach pain his whole life. And
that was because Courtney Love was poisoning him.
Probably, right. And that like something like 55% of suicides at the time were believed to be associated with chronic pain. And you probably dealt with it. I've dealt with it.
Let me tell you.
You will do anything to, like, as I said, I joked about lemur semen. Like at some point, I will, and that's where I always.
That might be the linchpin, to be honest, because it's either chronic pain emotionally or physically.
That's it. Yeah. And at some point, you just like can't take it anymore.
And when that weight gets so more, it outweighs any benefit. Your aperture goes completely blurry, and you can't get it back to clear. Whether it's near, far, right? That's just blurry.
Yeah, you don't see enough benefits to outweigh getting up another day.
All right, well, I gotta flip these wings so we can make it the benefit of those. We'll kick us to break with our signature station identification. I know you've listened to radio before in your life.
Yes,
the AMs and the FMs.
Yes,
you're listening to 91.1. Oh shit! Was that another plane? We'll be right back. We're back. We're live. Chickens flip, man. It's coming along. Coming along.
Smell from here.
Well, yeah, we were on a sad topic of we can switch gears, but
okay,
or we can keep going at that. But yeah, it's if I could find a useful way to connect that with comedy at some juncture of my path, that would be cool. I don't know where those two intersect. I know there are other people like Nick Ellis, who is doing great work with his like men's meetup group.
Yep.
So maybe it's something like that. I don't know, but yeah,
it's not being afraid to like reach out when you see someone, in trouble, and you being able to recognize those symptoms. And social media has been very interesting. There was just a guy the other day that texted something very dramatic, and 600 people reached out, and kind of talked him off the ledge. I've talked a friend off the ledge, but he called me in tears, and I was bummed that I didn't see it before that. And I was very, very lucky that I got him when I did. And I don't know, man. I mean, as I said, other than those relationships, and I think the one good thing that your generation and my son's generation has is the and this has been done on stage a million times with guys my age, but the ability and willingness to be open and honest and communicate, like, I mean, that just wasn't a thing. And my parents were lovely people, you know, they're gone now, but there was no one ever said, I love you my whole life, not even my own mother, you know, no touching, no hugging, never doubted that they loved me and that they had my best interest at heart all the time. But that was how I was raised. And it was a long time. And that's the biggest change I've made with my kids. I tell them I love them every day.
Yep.
And they'll say it to each other. And that doesn't sound like much maybe, but coming from my generation, trust me, that is monumental to be able to just talk about it, you know? So
when that group gets into that 50,
yeah,
maybe that
hopefully, and the whole journey and just, there's no stigma. I mean, the joke that's been done a million times is why guys my age have never done therapy. You know, you just it wasn't a thing and you suck it up and whatever, you know? And, so everybody's in therapy, which is a whole nother issue, but just the willingness. I've studied the shit out of therapy. I talk about a lot on stage. I've read probably 15 books. I have another 10 to go. And I'm always careful to say, because 90% of the audience is either in therapy or has been, right? Just statistically,
right.
Especially a certain demographic. And I'm always say, look, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. If talking to someone works for you, it works, full stop. Because that's 90% of it. It's just talking about it. Whether or not their book tells them what they can hand you in response is distant third.
So you'll love this. My new adapted like advice for if I had like a cousin, like say one of my cousin's kids was going through a rough time and they're like 15 or so.
Yeah.
They're like middle school, high school. My prescription to them, having been a young boy who's struggling, would be, you have to start a podcast with you and either one buddy or up to 2 buddy, up to 4 total people. But you have to do it for 12 times. And you don't have to publish it if you don't want, but you just have to do it.
Do it.
Because that alone, the talking to someone.
Yes.
That's all they need. And it has to be in person. It can't be over Zoom.
Right.
You have to have these contingencies to create the human thing. But like, let me like hand up a test, like doing this thing, this silly thing that for nobody or everybody, like, oh, this is like something that everyone should, like, people shit on like young people starting a podcast. Dude, fucking young people should start meaningful human podcasts where they just have talk, like long form talk. Like, don't be like trying to get clickbait, whatever but be people with other people, man.
That's it. Yeah. That's a great idea in a group setting, 2 or 3 guys.
So dumb.
No, it's not.
It sounds the G word that I'm not allowed to use anymore because we're supposed to not say it, but like, it's so gay of me to think that that's the solution.
No, I'm a South Park 70s kid, so I remember the original usage. Yeah. So no, and also you never know, like, it'd be therapeutic for them, as you said. That's the main, objective. But how many times has it benefited someone to find out that someone else is going through the same thing? Like, it's not just me. I'm not weird. That's my big thing with therapy and psychiatry and studying it, is like, in Gabor Mate's title of his book, The Myth of Normal, what's normal anyway? Like, we all had, after you have like 65% of the population has one of these 10 things, it's kind of like the teacher saying, all of my kids are above average in the classroom. Nah, it's the kid's not. So there is no normal, and you may think someone is, and you probably don't even know what they're really dealing with in private, So yeah, just accepting that, I've got issues I'm struggling with. They feel insurmountable. We talk about it. You feel better talking about it, and somebody else listens and go, huh, that's the same thing I'm dealing with, And then you're not alone anymore. Alone is a big part of this. Mm. It's a big part of that 50s guy thing, is isolation and feeling alone, which goes full circle to the importance of relationships, and not being alone.
And they're pushing us towards at least as I've been alive and cognitive, it's been a hard push from both sides and all parties and every incentive to be more isolated and alone, because they can put you into the buckets of, if you want the economic answer, they can 3rd-degree price discriminate you better if you're alone. The more isolated you are, the more they can know how to price discriminate against you.
And that's the paradox of social media from an old guy, is that you're doing it by yourself, and in a twisted fashion, trying to find community online. And I can't. Who was it? That guy, Professor G or somebody, actually made the case that just young adult males who were losing at an accelerating rate should be out having beers together. You know what I mean? Just together. The beers are there. It's part of what we do. I wouldn't be married with kids if it wasn't for alcohol. That's my other thread is I owe alcohol so much. I feel, because I was socially awkward and just introverted, and alcohol, just 2 beers was just enough to loosen me up and get me talking and ask a girl out,
I think the kids are doing shrooms now.
Are they?
I think that's the new social lubricant is like a little microdosing before they go out. Maybe. Okay. I don't know.
It's not addictive, but
maybe that's I'm isolated to Colorado, so that's why I see it more. But
yeah, we do have a different perspective. It's like when we went legal here, and right after I moved here, and all my friends from back in Jersey were like, "Oh, did it change everything? Did it change everything?" I'm like, weed's been part of the Colorado culture since the 60s. So we have a lot of weed tourism, but I always tell the story that Willie Nelson had a ranch in Evergreen. Position 1 on the Mount Rushmore of pot smokers, had a place in Colorado. Yeah. So I don't think it changed anything for the locals.
The guy that had the most rigorously documented drug routine as an artist, Hunter S. Thompson. As soon as he was able to pick where he wanted to be, where'd he go? Aspen. And that was back when it was OG Wild West Aspen-ish. Right before the big money poured in. Through this time, he saw it change. And he was pissed about it. That's why he ran for, didn't he run for mayor of Aspen?
He did, yeah. That was back when all those towns were basically hippie communes.
Yeah. Hippie communes is a great way to think. And now it's so private equitized. I don't have another way to put it, but whatever. That's where I, unfortunately, might be the one place where I struggling with myself over. I think my position is fascist.
Your day job?
No. My position on this issue,
I got
how to fix the mountains of Colorado, on protecting, on conservatism towards the mountains and the beauty of Colorado.
Right.
I end up with a fascist outcome, which is that if you have a Texas license plate or what, we need to do more checks. There needs to be people on the.
You're the only other person that has made that observation. Yeah. I mean, I count. I'm guessing. I feel like 1 out of every 6 plates is Texas, right? My neighbor has kept Texas residency for 27 years.
Why? What is it getting you? I don't get it. Do you get more guns?
I think it's they there's a overly dramatic perception about car registration costs in Colorado being a property tax. Okay. If you buy a brand new car first year, it is. I just registered 3 cars for under $300 each because they're older and whatever, depreciated. I think he claims Texas residency, claiming, and this if I was governor for a day, same with you, I'd be a dictator. I'd say
fascista, no out-of-state plates.
You're only here 180 days, so you get 365 days of no income tax, right? They keep a condo there. He told me the whole scam. This guy's 80 years old. Yeah, he's been doing it his whole life here. So the Texas plates drive me nuts because I know they live here. And they're just not paying car registration or income tax that would fund our schools and our first responders and all of those things, right?
Well, how about this? We can meet in the middle. Let's abolish federal income tax, because we've proven that since we're the issuance of the currency and we can drive a demand for the currency, that we actually don't need the income tax. We do need it on the state and local level.
Right.
Very much so.
Right.
So let's shift the money that would be going there. We can take 1/10 of it and take it back to here, to the state and local level.
Yeah.
Let those people decide where the money goes instead of to a black box.
Right. We feel the benefit of every state and local tax we pay, whereas as you pointed out earlier with the federal tax, if you put that on a referendum, I wouldn't approve any of this shit.
I want to pay local taxes.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I fucking hate taxes.
Yeah.
I'm a super, unfortunately, if you really got me on a lie detector, you're going to get me in the libertarian category.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And you're going to get me in the free speech absolutionist category. But I hate tax. I hate it. But I really would love to pay more local taxes, knowing that it's directly funding kids' schools.
That's it.
Lunches, it's not going to corruption, but
right.
That's the other thing of how do we get younger people, my generation and below, to believe that any dollar that goes to an institution isn't in part going to corruption, because that's all we've seen. That's all we know.
Right.
And it's not one side, it's all sides.
Yes.
It's all systems.
Yep.
It's capitalism, it's politics, it's everything jumbled together. It's become so messy and dirty and wrong.
Yeah.
And anyone with a young brain looks at it and they're like, this is fucked up and I don't like this.
It's not worth it.
And I talk to people way over here and way over there, and they both tell me the same thing.
Isn't that
this
fascinating?
is fucked up and it's not worth it.
Right. No, I'm with you. And with the property tax thing, I said
go back to the States. How do we fix that? What's your fascista solution? You get the mayor for a day or the governor. We give you absolute power. How do we fix Colorado? I want Colorado mountain towns to feel like Colorado mountain towns again.
Yeah.
There's maybe too much we got to do.
I mean, you could ban. I mean, you're in private equity. The private equity ownership of homes is insane. When I was a firefighter in Eagle, so that's one of the 3 wealthiest counties in the U.S. I made $17.50 an hour as a firefighter, and one of the issues is one of the things you learn. We were not that busy because every other home was a second, third, or fourth home. And I'm not kidding, because we talked to the homeowners on a call, and got to know them. And so half the homes are empty because they're just second, third, fourth homes. I'm buying them now for my kids. The income disparity is so insane that is part of, that is just, the housing issue is national, but it's big in the mountain towns. They've struggled for years to put employees in restaurants and bars and all that stuff because they can't live there. They're literally like Summit County, is trying to bus people in from Leadville or something like that because no one can live there. I think you have to, start off with I thought about myself, government housing that then gives a rent option to buy. You know what I mean? So very cheap housing. We've subsidized it, make the payments, but they're going to go like a lease to own. That'll go to, so you'll own it someday. They've tried.
So like modern framework of what we did in the 1800s with the Western United States, where we said, hey, if you can get there, you get land.
You get land, the land rush.
So it's like that. We got to build the apartments on the front end.
Yeah, you got to build them. You got to dedicate some land, dedicate the buildings. Obviously, you got to keep the private equity and the venture capital guys.
But
out. You got to keep the rich people out.
So here's the crux: who's going to build it? So you got to figure out a way to get people to have incentive, because
it has to be subsidized.
Unfortunately, But okay, so if it's subsidized, they're incentivized by the check. So the check, okay. I'm just thinking about you don't want someone living in a place that they're renting to own, to working to own, and then it's falling apart because it was built very shoddily because they're trying to.
Yeah. So, we talk about roads in Europe and stuff like that. The reason they last 10 times longer is the company that puts in the road is obligated to fix it. You know what I mean? So they price it, but you get it, it's price versus value, right? So that's one way to do it. The challenge.
And so the difference here is that we've made everything litigious, so it's get it done as cheap as possible and we'll sue on the back end.
It's the litigious part, but it's also that our society cannot see past the next quarterly earnings or the next 2-year election cycle, right? And so that's all they manage to. There's an old saying about involving character: planting trees whose shade you will not enjoy, right? And that's what is completely missing from government at every level.
This is what gets me fired up about rich people. It's like that used to be the old methodology. I've never said it like that, but that is it.
Yeah.
You plant trees that you won't see the shade of.
That's it.
They used to build epic institutions of learning, epic public goods, the systems of travel,
the industry barons. They were shitheads maybe while they were working, but one of them, I don't know if it was Vanderbilt or
they were all said, the barons are horrible, but if you die
with rich, you die in shame. That was one of their sayings. You know what I mean? You got to give it away. You build the schools, you build the universities, and that ethic is just gone.
Untold levels of wealth, but hey, Zuckerberg, instead of owning 4,000 acres of Maui or whatever,
right?
How about build something incredibly epic that isn't for you, isn't for your employees, isn't for Facebook, is for the public good, or for at least the public enjoyment. I don't know, like do some really cool thing with the Grand Canyon, build access trails throughout the Grand Canyon, spend $4 billion and build 400 miles of trails.
It wouldn't touch the interest income that they make on their wealth. That's the. Can you imagine? By the way, I know this is getting really dark.
So I've been making this joke for a while. I feel like this. You'll be one of the few people that will appreciate it. Like, whenever we get into this type of talk in the pod, it's like, well, the people that like control the puppets or whatever, all they care about is like, 8% growth a year.
Yeah.
And it's like that, as long as it's the quarterly earnings, it's the next cycle. It's as long as we can keep the facade up.
Yeah. No, and I just can't imagine having so much wealth that you could change the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, diminish their suffering, make the world. How about making the world? They all have children. Making the world a better place, for them. But they just hoarding that kind of wealth. I just don't know how they live like. Now, I'll tell you one book I did where I told you I was reading all these books on psychiatry and the history of it. There's a book called The Wisdom of Psychopaths. And it's not Shakespeare, but it's a pretty good book. And it's basically, in a nutshell, 1% to 2% of the population is like a psychopath. They don't all become serial killers. A lot of them become surgeons,
Sam Altman,
politicians, or now tech bros. And the thing that they all have in common is there's 30 characteristics that if you took a test and you're above a 21, you're a psychopath. The most common characteristic is a lack of empathy. And so that actually, the part of the book where he's trying to say, like, for a surgeon, like, that's probably a pretty good thing because they make crystal clear decisions in the moment without any stress. Like, I've seen stress take good firefighters down on scene because you get these hormone surges and then everything plummets, including your cognitive ability. They don't care, But if you look at Zuckerberg and Bezos,
but when you're just making money on a computer, you don't need to be that. Is what we're driving at.
Yeah,
basically. When it's just numbers on the screen and it's going up.
Yeah.
When it's that level of wealth, you don't need that level of thinking.
No.
Why? What is that serving?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but
wild.
Anyway. Yeah.
What
do you got?
Let me see if I've even set a timer for these wings, and I'm gonna have to estimate. It was fun. Yeah, no, I didn't. Perfect. That's fun. Let's see. How long do you think we've been at this since our break? Oh, well, fun again.
15 minutes?
Yeah, that would be my guess. Okay, cool.
How long do you cook your wings?
About 15 more until these wings will be perfect.
Okay.
Ready to go. And we're going to eat them over on patreon.com/InTALLerable. That's, Lemmy is really a great dude, not just because he's here with us, but because before even coming on the show, he join the Patreon and send a long, meaningful message about how it's the right way to grow and the right way to be doing things. And I do think so because I don't know if you caught this, but I got to have someone on the pod at their old studio who had been in the West Bank, who had firsthand seen the genocide and was talking about the genocide in the West Bank 6 months before we were publicly allowed to even use that word. And I had a show in my garage that he was able to share that. And regardless of how many people saw that, that's the foundational importance of the thing that I'm driving at, that I'm working towards, that I can't lose. Yeah. And the Patreon or whatever is the only, being, your supporters being the ones that you're doing the thing for and that you answer to.
Right.
Because they know what you're going at.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it now, because otherwise you're going to have to be a sellout and you're going to have to be beholden.
Right. That's it. How many times have you heard, this is why I said to you, I think it's the future. I think it's the big missed opportunity Patreon. How many times have I seen a comedian, sweat for 3 years, do an hour special, they put it on YouTube and they get demonetized because they use the C word or the F word or the G word or whatever. And now they're scrambling to get it edited and they can't even make money. And, that's the techocracy,
yes.
And YouTube's a powerful, powerful system. But I feel like that should be a tool, like my 3-year plan, that is a tool with Instagram to generate followers and eventually one day go, it's already up. Like it's free. Like I have no content. So why would I charge? But 3 years from now and say, hey, let's just come on, join, $3 a month, price a cup of coffee, not even, and let's all say goodbye to Bezos and Zuckerberg and now the Ellison, father-son team. Let's just check out and do our own thing. And then you've got that direct relationship with your customers without being told that what you can and cannot say. So there's not much left.
We got to take it one step further, though, because I do think Patreon itself isn't even good enough. We have to build a new tool that's open source, modular for creators.
Because there are things there you want to do you can't do?
Well, no. Just because Patreon is still an oligarchical system. They could still decide overnight to just nuke you.
Has that happened?
Has happened.
I didn't know that.
Has happened. Has only so far been in a this pocket of extremism.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
But
you're
come on now. We need to.
I'm an free speech absolutist as well. And that's a generational thing, honestly.
And I know history, and I'm smart enough to know that it really all side. We go enough on the horseshoe. We think the same. And people are people, and also people should be able to say fucked up things that I disagree with because I want to be able to say things that they might disagree with, and that's part of this spirit of the game, if you will.
Not only that, the reason my explanation for being a free speech absolutist is a true story. Okay, well, you want that person to say they're crazy as shit because then you can just take them out of your life, right? I call that kind of blocking of speech is like pulling up the proverbial Trump yard signs. No. Don't do that out of anger. That sign was a gift to you. If it's that important to you, if it upsets you that much, just check out of that, relationship. So I had a guy.
That's hilarious because it's so right, it's so apt. And I was living across the street from someone that had the fuck Putin and the Ukraine for the whole time. And it's it's the same thing. Right. And it's okay, cool. I just know where you stand. Thank you.
It's a gift.
That's a very helpful
It's a gift. Don't deny the gift. I had a guy, I haven't figured out how to tell this on stage. So
it's just about understanding. It's not about me being bad.
No.
Just thank you for helping me understand.
It's a gift. Hey, can you explain to me what is gaslighting?
Gaslighting is it's where you make someone think they're crazy because you manipulate the truth or reality around them.
Okay.
So it'd be like, you never told me about your pancreas. What do you mean you told me about your pancreas?
Right. I didn't tell you about my pancreas?
No. You can have a beer. What do you mean? You never said anything about your pancreas.
Right. Okay.
You're not going to drink with me?
You're
Come on.
Right. Okay.
That would be gaslighting.
Okay.
Or something like that.
That's good. This was not gaslighting. I don't know what you call this. Honeypotting, maybe.
Honeypotting is where it's the Eric Swalwell method. I don't have a better example. That's not no. This is the old method. Not the current news.
Oh, okay.
Old. Go 4 years ago when he was being honeypotted by that Chinese spy. Remember?
Yes.
That's honeypotting, where you are being intrigued. You're oh, Winnie the Pooh, I would just love a little bit of honey. That's what honeypotting is.
Yeah. I don't know what this is. I'll tell you. You can tell me if it's anything. So I meet this guy. I'm hiking with my son on one of the trails in Evergreen. He's coming off the trail we're going on. Small talk. Oh, you should check out. There's a beaver dam. Great. 4 weeks later, I run into him in town. We make small talk again. He was my age. He was from Texas. He moved to Evergreen with his wife. He tried to go back to Texas to save the marriage. Wasn't saved. Came back to Texas. So he's single divorced guy. Meet him a third time. Charming guy. Nice guy, right? But our relationship is still surface level. Evergreen, nature, outdoors. I am, absolutely. So I actually invited him to a party we had at our house. Very rare. He was the only single guy there. He did great. Fifth time we get together. We go down to a coffee shop, the Muddy Buck in Evergreen, and we pour the coffee. And I can't do his West Texas drawl, but it's pretty thick. He says, John, where do you come down on beat homosexuals? I'm like, God damn it, he fooled me. He felt like we had become close enough friends that he could go deeper into his, and I'm like, Brian, I got no issue. What's your problem? And so.
And he had some.
And I feel like I wasted 3 months on this relationship. And if on day one he had said, "Hey John, you ever hear the one about the priest, the rabbi, and the
if he had a button that said, "Ask me what I think about the homosexuals," that would have been really helpful for you.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
There's your tactic.
Thank you. I wasted 4 months.
No, please. There's you can do that on stage. There's a joke too.
Yeah.
Ask me what I think about the homosexuals.
That's it.
That's a great button. Very helpful button, sir. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Enjoy the trail.
Everyone should have a button.
Yeah.
You got to wear one
to
button
come to the party. Yeah.
Ask me what I think about. So back to free speech. That is a gift. I wish on day one he had said, "Hey, just so we're clear, I'm not down with the LB." I'm like, great. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And I don't need to see you again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We can stay surface level.
That's it. Surface
Beaver
level.
Dam? Where's the Beaver Dam?
And it happened with my neighbor, 13 years I've been there now. In the beginning, it was just the Avs, Avalanche. And then it was, kids or dogs or whatever. And then it was years of small talk in the driveway. Our fences, driveways just separated by a little 4-foot fence. And then he starts getting into...
It was tool time, and then there was suddenly a door one day.
Dude,
and then they went through the door, and
I'm like, holy crap, you are batshit. You're the most racist person I've seen. And I grew up in the 70s, man. I mean...
Where did you grow up? I don't think I asked you this
Sopranos country, North Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, everything. Nothing. No governors. Nothing inappropriate. I mean, it was just, woo. And this guy he's a Polish immigrant, not to pick on that, just saying he didn't grow up
just
here.
dumb.
He's just, yeah, right. He's just,
I get to do the racist stuff today.
Right,
it's my job.
I'm Sean. I don't know if you met Sean.
Hi, guys.
And there's people. Every time there was a crime, anything in the news, he'd say, they're fill in the blank. He has one of these.
I wish I had a beat button.
Right. He has one of these yard signs. So about yard signs, and it's the front end of a revolver that says, "We don't call 911."
Oh.
And I finally said, dude, no shit. You live in Evergreen. No one calls 9. I don't even. If I had to find a key to my door, like I wouldn't know where to find it. Like
Right.
Our doors don't even close anymore. So he's a psychopath. There's always terrorists. He's literally said this. He pointed to the woods west of where we live. There are always terrorists out there willing to start a fire to burn us all down.
What?
And I'm like,
Nice.
no.
Why?
I don't. Yeah.
See,
that's how you live your life.
My problem.
I'm yelling at you now.
No, it's great. Please, I've been yelling at you unintentionally. I think I yell at too many people too often. Without realizing, I think I've yelled out my ears. My problem, and maybe I'll get over this with age, but I want to talk to that person and dig in, and maybe that's the crazy in me, but like I like digging at that. Like I want to know more. I want to understand like how does that develop and get there? Like clearly there's something behind thinking there's terrorists in the West Hills ready to start a fire whenever. Like
right. Yeah, the Taliban is out in Mount Evans right now trying to figure out how to burn down everything. Dude, that is so mature. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. And I get so worked up over this guy. I spent a small fortune for me building a 6-foot privacy fence. Yeah, no, I should not. So I no longer have to hear, because what he would do is he's got a wife and daughter, but he's kind of very, they're always traveling. They go back to Poland a lot. And I swear to God, he would wait for me to pull in the driveway and get out of my car and go, "Hey, John. And he would start off with something innocuous, like, "Hey, do you know a leaf guy for the gutters?" And then it would be, there's terrorists in the woods trying to burn. But you're right. That is the mature. I should have just sat there instead of getting all worked up the way I am and just said, "That's interesting, Arthur. Why do you say that? Have you ever seen it? Has ever, that's good, Sean."
See, I don't know.
I'm going to try that, man.
I don't know if it's
very zen.
It might be zen, or it's like the fucked up part of me where it's like I want to rile this. I want to get this guy really like going, like because it's fun to get people that are like that in whatever camp.
Yeah,
go. I like people being excited about what gets them like. Seeing people light up, that's what gets. I'm like, oh, I can't get enough of that.
That's what he gets lit up over, and that would fascinate you. Would drill down.
I just want to get that. He would
be begging. I was the one running away from there. He would be begging to get away from you. You would be like, "Let's
literally,
go." Yeah,
that's what happens with me in the world. Unfortunately, with like people, I'm too much because of that. Because I run the fuse dead until the fuse pops.
Yeah. That's great, man. I'm going to try.
Maybe.
I'm trying. No. I think it's, I saw Stanhope.
Hang on. Yeah. Maybe I can give you some explanation as to why I'm this way.
Yes.
I grew up when my parents were together, relatively conservative household.
Okay.
Like drugs were drugs. We don't do drugs in this house. It's just a good example of that. But I went to public school in Boulder Public School. So it was and I'm really an engaged learner from a young age. So I'm going to school, learning what I think is the world and the truth, and then coming home and I'm arguing at the dinner table about what I've learned is the world and the truth, and then I'm kind of reshaping and coming back to school. I'm like, hey, did you guys know the real like? And the cycle of constantly challenging back and forth was like just natural. And so I think I don't view it as like a confrontation of like so many people in my generation are like, don't want confrontation, don't want the politics, like don't want the avoid. Yeah, give me the sign, like don't, not for me. I'm like, nah, like there's something cool in everything. Right. Like to get the lighting up. So I think that's probably if I really had to drill down into myself, that's probably
where it started.
Where it starts. Yeah.
Well, it's valuable. And I'm going to, I don't know, why am I the other way? That's an interesting thing. I'll have to consider later. Like why am I
New Jersey?
Yeah.
It's East Coast thing.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's fascinating though. Maybe you'll come back next time and get to tell me some theories as to what you've learned as to why there are terrorists in the house. Maybe he hears them. Maybe there's.
So can I give you? I'm going to throw out a source of optimism.
Sure.
About politics. This is a 100% true story. So, and if you got to do wings,
no, we're good. I'm just
okay. One story, then we'll go do wings.
No,
so
we have 7 minutes. We're good.
So after this guy realized that we were. He was making an assumption about me that I was in the same camp as him, that I'm not. He would put out on election day, he would always put out a Trump flag, on a stick, and then the day after take it down. But on the inside of his garage, I'm not making up a word of this, he has a gigantic banner that says, "Fuck Biden, Save America Trump 2024. And he leaves the garage door open. It's the inside of the wall facing my house. So I have to see it every day, all day. So here's the source of optimism.
Wow.
It's been like that for 6 years.
Okay.
Going back to, 2020. And he made I was seeing him, and again, privacy fence. I'm not, but I can still see him because I couldn't build it all the way to the street. So anyway, I see him working in this garage. He took it down. I don't know if it's Iran or gas prices, but he took it down.
Okay, you want me to?
So this is a crazy batshit guy.
Let me give you some help,
please.
Here's your in. Go in with it's something to do with Israel. Let me just. I've spoken to enough people in those camps. Like,
interesting.
I bet you if the flag came down recently, like you're talking about, something to do with Israel, something to do with the war and Trump's ties and the news to being a puppet of Israel. So come in with some crazy like. This guy's a puppet, right?
Yeah. Like, but going back to your comment, coming full circle, left and right. There are many things
agree on. Yes.
90% of the public,
Yep.
That's great.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And thank God for this pod and for me being me, and because that's what it's 100%.
You talk to people and you get to know.
I've and that's why it's funny because it's like I go to both camps and they tell me the same thing. It's like, guys, you're way more like each other than you're giving each other.
So this is going to be a Hank Hill moment. I'm going to be out there. He's going to be out there. We haven't talked literally in a year and go, fucking Israel, man, huh?
Yeah.
And watch you go, oh, yeah. Then he's going
to, exactly. Yeah.
Netanyahu, huh? Oh, yeah.
And that's, I think maybe that is maybe one way to repair, those relationships that are strained because of politics, because on both sides and every level and every person, we've been propagandized. So start there and back up and acknowledge that the view you have about your family member that thinks X is propagandized to some extent.
100%.
So because of that, let's just restart from finding one place of common ground, because I guarantee you if you look for even 5 minutes, you'll find a place, because like we said, horseshoe, you come back around. If you think way differently, I bet you agree on at least one thing. And dig into that. And as you're digging into that with the person, I bet you'll find some offshoots of like moralism or logic or truth and belief, like the ethos, pathos, logos. There'll be some offshoots just on this one issue that bring out the humanity in the person that you might have stomped out because of that.
And what frustrates me about this guy is like one of the crazy on the fence discussions. It wasn't crazy. It was frustrating. His wife has some very chronic, serious health issue. Oof. And he was complaining to me about the cost, And, I know it. He said, for a while, she couldn't even get health insurance, which is the pre-existing condition clause. And I wanted to say, well, you know who fixed that, right?
Right.
Not perfectly, but that's the one crown jewel of that policy is you can't do that anymore. And he knew it as soon as he said it. So he, without me saying anything, he pivoted to, yeah, but it's still so expensive. We're thinking about going back to Europe. And again, I was like, so you know who wants to institute a European-style universal healthcare system here? So I'm like, in the biggest ways that actually impact your life, you should be voting Democrat against some of your other beliefs about immigration or gun control and things like that. What really would impact you, your wife, and your daughter is a vote for the other party,
right?
But that, I think he figured that out too. And when, but that's a common ground. That would be a. After we get through Israel, Netanyahu, we'll go to healthcare.
Well, and that's part of the like two-party system that keeps us in this like I'll call it a uniparty system because it's perpetuating itself at this point. My whole time I've been alive, let's be honest. My first memory is 9/11. So since then, like it's meant to do this. If it wasn't a single member district plurality system like it is, we would have representation for people like that want guns and free speech and free healthcare.
Right.
But we can't because all the votes go to one. All of the interests go to one. And then the biggest donors, and we've got this horrible undercurrent of political dark money that we aren't going to address because why would the incentives ever align for that?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. And the Roberts Court killed that, back in 2005 and then 2010 with Citizens United. And we won't need to do that. But let me ask you this,
please.
You just mentioned like we talk about guns and free speech and healthcare and bringing things back to the state level from the federal level. Don't you feel like Colorado politically would be the one place where if we had the money and the ability to do it would actually meet a lot of those needs?
Because we're the best test case to really try
I think so. We've become California. It used to be everything used to come like culturally, trends used to start in California. Trends now start in Colorado, but also politically, we've got this weird, it's not, purple doesn't explain it well enough because all my Democratic friends, most of them own guns. They want sane gun regulations, but they're all gun owners. And healthcare has been polling over 60% universally for 20 years, universal healthcare. So you're right. This would be the test case to do it. I wonder if that could be, Mitt Romney did it in frickin' Massachusetts like 20 years ago, right?
It's interesting because I think you have to have concessions on both sides.
Yes.
And being objective, one side both sides need to get better at giving concessions. Flat out. And one side is willing to get concessions because they get huge benefits in other places, and the other side doesn't give concessions because it's an emotional, they find it to be like a fragmenting with the foundations of what they represent, and that's just what it is. And that's just kind of, I'm just trying to be objective with that. So
true.
We just all need to get a little bit better about that. But we don't need to get a little better about these chicken wings. If you want to join us for these lovely chicken wings, patreon.com/InTALLerable. Only $2. A cheap rack of beer over the course of a year. What you'll get is a keychain. If you go at a higher tier, I'll make you a hat with my own hands. We're just trying to be out here balling so that people can come on and be themselves and be humans. So if you want to join us, head over there. We're going to have a great time, and we'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Bye. We're back. We're live. It's the After Hours show, and our bellies are full of chicken.
Thank you.
It is time for a wing review, Mr. Lemmy.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Whatever scale whatever you want to tell.
The perfect wings are crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside, and that's the hardest thing to manage. And I'm going to give you some credit, but maybe it's the smoker technology, but you nailed it. And I did. Sean's very polite as a gentleman. He asked me where I was on the spicy continuum, and I said just left of pussy. So they were flavorful. And thank you for the beer. We're going to see how my pancreas handles it. But I wanted the beer to go with those wings because it's like matching wine with, steak or fish or something. I thought they were great. They were delicious. So
wonderful. Dude.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a joy to get to break bread with you and have a great hang and conversation.
Yeah. I saw I didn't get to do any of my Sam Ellison jokes, but no, I'm kidding. I didn't write any. I did watch a lot of episodes to understand what was going on.
Wow, that's thoughtful of you, because I don't know if I'd say that's very non-typical.
Yeah,
a lot of people come on never seen an episode.
Yeah, no,
but that's fine.
I got it, and it was fun recognizing a lot of the people, the folks I've had on shows that I produce, and Sam was one of them, and he is Minnesota nice. He's a great guy. And you guys were talking about Goldman on that one. Now, who's your buddy Wood from Wyoming?
Oh, Wood is interesting. He's just a high school buddy.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought so.
He's just an interesting character.
Yeah, you guys were talking about EMS up in Wyoming, and I was doing all right, volunteer firefighter. That'll
he's they're just like us here in Colorado, like moisture, not enough moisture. They're just every day praying, worried.
That's it. That's what we
mountains do. Here and there. It's like, oh man. This is not going to be a fun summer.
No, we're terrified. When the campfire in California went down, the word was that the insurance companies are now starting to get away from providing homeowners insurance, like in certain markets. They had that nailed. They were trying to calculate value of structures per square mile, biggest risk to them, and that was number one. And
Palisades.
Yep. And you know what number two is? Evergreen conifer combined. And so, again, I was a firefighter volunteer there for 8 years. And when you do the firefighting outside of the urban core, you have to do everything. So we were structure fire, we were wildland fire certified, swift water rescue, all that stuff. And we used to sandbox it every year. And there are areas.
That's like for anyone that might know. That's like when you train for situations, right?
That's it. You have a big map, sandbox, toy trucks, basically, and the conclusion. There are a couple of areas that we literally will not send firefighters down into because they're too dangerous. It's called a box canyon.
Yep.
And once it starts, it's like a flume and it just fires. So. One of them is out on I-70 in the foothills, and the other is Brook Forest, going out towards Mount Evans. And they're trying. There are things you see crews out there all the time, just trimming dead trees and thinning forests. But it's just a drop in the bucket compared. I mean, just talk about we're in the shadow of the Arapahoe National Forest and Mount Evans Wilderness. Just so many friggin' trees, but. No. So anyway, that's it.
That's fascinating.
I enjoyed listening to all the episodes. You're very good at what you do.
Oh,
you keep conversation going, and I'd love to come back in a year, and hopefully we're talking about more funny stuff.
Yeah,
but
dude.
You asked all the right questions. I'm addicted to comedy. I know it's the right thing for me at this stage of my life because I've been kicking the can down the road for so long, and I don't have to.
How long have you been doing it? I don't think I got
comedy?
to ask you that yet. Yeah.
It'll be 3 years in May. So it was May 2nd. I can tell you exactly when, 2023. And I went to Tavern on 26 in Lakewood. And
that was a great mic, I heard.
It was a fun. It was 6:00 on a Tuesday, and people would just roll in from the neighborhood having no idea that what comedy was, that there would be a mic. But 20 comedians would show up, and Christy would do a great job. And for me, I'm used to driving an hour 45 minutes to Fort Collins, and sometimes Colorado Springs. So for me, it was like the closest thing on the planet. I enjoyed it. Went away, but then Wednesday I showed up at the Christy Buckley's shop at Rise, her joke writing shop. Did that for a few months, and then headed down to Colorado Springs. Well, actually, it was Manitou at Lulu's downstairs. It was called. And that, unfortunately, that was fun. That actually met a whole different group of people.
Cam McKenzie in them? Or who's the...
No, he wasn't there. It's Nina Davis. She was running it.
Yeah, Nina's great.
Yeah, and she was a gem to me. But that they shut down the bar, so the mic went away. And I was like, now what do I do now? And I just literally got on the internet and found the Comedy Fort mic on Monday nights and started making that I-25 drive. And sometimes I'd go Wednesday nights to Joe Frommert and Britt Boyd do one at Slice on Wednesdays. Excellent as well. Very young crowd. I mean, I joke about it, but I walk into a room of Gen Zs. I'm like, this is not going to go well. They look at me like they might catch shingles from me, and I have to, I wear a hat to take a couple years off. But, I'm talking about just different things, you know.
Well, if you're out there and you're looking for mics around town, I know one of my producers, Grant, that went up South Dakota with me, he's been building this new tool because the 5280 comedy, coloradocomedy.com is kind of defunct in some sense. So he's building a new, better tool. Okay. It's called denverstandup.com, I think. So if you're like looking for mics and shows around town, that seems to be a good resource right
That'd be great. I need to get up more too.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, and without it's hard. You can't do. There's some
do Laugh Out Loveland again?
I didn't apply. I didn't. I was so flattered that I got asked last year, and you know, I didn't know. I think I feel like, I don't know. Jeff and Dan were very nice to me to put me on, and it went really well, obviously, and I was thrilled. But I know they want to change the lineup a little bit, so I didn't apply. But they asked me to go do Verboten, so I still on the off cycle I get to do shows up there. And Loveland is a fun comedy town. It's an interesting mix of people.
I like Loveland.
Loveland is a hidden gem for stand up, and
Longmont, Loveland, where you get like the in between of. I mean, they've been saying it forever, but like the best places to do comedy are blue cities and red states. So like that's kind of like when you're meeting that intersection.
Yes, I agree.
Of peoples.
I agree. Not too far from center of either way.
Yeah.
And
you need some people that worked all week for this and will laugh at anything.
Right.
And then you need some people that like you got to work for the laughs. Right?
Yeah.
It needs to be a mix.
Yeah. It's so true. And I've been lucky because like I joke like I'm an open micer, so I'm not anything, but I know I am destined to remain a niche because like I've done shows where like the bucket pole thick skin.
Yes.
I did a year ago.
I watched your set this morning.
And so
they did well. Great.
Yeah. There were, if you listen to it and you've been through what I've been through, I noticed there are like there's always two guys in the back that are loving it. And they're like boisterous and their laughter's infectious and it kind of carries, you know, across the room. And it can be misleading. I can get overconfident. Like, oh, I killed that room. Well, you killed this group and they kind of brought everyone up. Because I feel like if you take those guys out, I don't know if I do as well.
See, I don't know if that thinking's helpful. Let me give you that. As someone that is the loud laugh in the back of the room from the sound booth, I have a very loud, prominent, unique laugh that I don't like and wish I could change, but it's just how I express joy, unfortunately. It's loud. I definitely add to shows sometimes unintentionally, like just being in there.
There you go.
And laughing. You know, like that's not, but like that's not.
No, and I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
The view, if anything, I think there's enough negative in the process that like that shouldn't be another thing.
You're right, and I have to. You're absolutely right, and I've let it get me down just recently where I had that experience. I'm like, that 10 minutes has crushed 10 times in a row, and now it was like 50-50.
Yeah.
And I get all depressed, and I don't know why my emphasis is on the 11th show instead of the 10 times it worked. Other than insecurity.
Can I try to offer? I mean, I'm in no place to offer advice, but like wanting you to have fun and be successful. Perhaps it's what you talked about earlier with the your method and style is very refined.
Yeah,
and so when it doesn't go to the level that it has.
Yep.
You don't have that lane switch as comfortable as you're talking about
100%.
To be like, well, screw that joke. Let's talk to this person that looks silly.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, whatever else.
I agree.
So maybe like next time that you do have one of those happen to you, you just decide like, okay, I'm just in the moment here.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay if I'm working through 30 seconds of it being tough in the moment because I'll find something.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I got this material, I can fall back. I can
keep doing that. Yeah. No, it's true. It's like,
and I struggle with that. I'm probably, you know, more mirror talking to myself than I am giving you advice. But
that's like, all right. I appreciate it. And I've had moments where I did something that was, I think it was true and smart, and I can explain. I can always explain why I think it's funny, even if it doesn't work. And crickets, and I'll just go too dark, and the room explodes with laughter, like you're releasing that tension. What I did cause tension because I'm talking about something I'm trying to make a joke about something heavy. They don't know that it's okay. They're not sure. Is it okay to laugh at this? You know? And I go too dark, and they laugh. And I've only done that a couple of times, and I'm always shocked at how well it like recovers the crowd for me, you know, just acknowledging the elephant in the room, which is, yep, okay, that's on me. I went a little heavy there for a Monday night at 7:00.
Right. Man. Yeah, it's so I love it because it's always different, and there's always learning to be done, and there is no pinnacle, like every other thing has that.
No guarantee, no formulas. Yeah. Absolutely. Every crowd's different, every room. I notice, like, I record every set. So if it doesn't work, I'll go back and listen to it. I'm like, wow, the pace I was racing. Mm-hmm. I missed the pauses. Like, the laughter often happens in the pauses. It's such a delicate thing, but I'm with you. It's one of the things I love about it. It's never ending learning, and it's at the end of the day, it's a human element. It's you and those other humans in the room and all their emotions, as you said, the baggage they carried with them all week or all day, what happened to them. No two rooms are homogenous,
Something that I find funny about it is that when on the macro, people tend to be like, you should start as young as you can. And like, obviously with everything, like, yeah, the more time you do something, the better you get. But like, there's also something to not starting until you're in your 50s, because you've lived so much life and had so much experience in the world that your ability to connect with different crowds is going to be accelerated than a middle schooler who starts stand-up. Who they could be a savant. Yeah. But they can only write about middle school experiences. Yeah. And so a crowd can only get so far.
I'm almost sympathetic to people in their early 20s, having been there myself, having raised 4 sons, knowing exactly kind of what their life experience generally up to this point is, going, wow, they, what are they, of course they're going to do vaping and dating apps and polyamory and, ADHD and, that's what they're going through, and, so I don't recommend to anyone out there waiting till you're 56 and losing all your hair. Being a 56-year-old bald guy was not an advantage, except for the things you talked about. And this,
I was going to advocate for that. Dude.
No, maybe 40. Maybe 40. But anyway, this has been great, Sean.
Well, thanks for being on. I know you have a long drive ahead of you, but I could talk to you fucking all day long, brother.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. You got I do have to do, some things that I'm sure you know about. Have you heard of this country called England before?
I have.
I think they're not a country. Someone told me this recently that I'm doing this wrong. That they're a commonwealth, or it's incorrect to say the country of England.
Really? I didn't know that.
Someone said that to me. Okay. Maybe it's wrong too.
I'm going to look that up when I get home. But I thought of that. I was going to ask you if you ever thought, like, if I went into a time machine, back to the 1200s, you could be the William Wallace. Are you Irish or Scottish?
My full name is Sean Thomas Connolly. Here's a fun one that I want to try to make work for more. I want to have the courage to do more frequently. I think my dad he's so dad jokey, he made my name a dad joke. And good. How do I know this? His brother has the same name.
Are you serious?
Yeah, his brother's name is Sean Connolly. But he spelled my name differently because he wants me to go to Japan for business someday, like his brother did. Sit down and be, Sean Connery, famous movie star.
Well, there's that, and also just he was just lazy and couldn't come up with anything creative. So all right, so do you feel Irish? Do you connect with that?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, the more the prefrontal lobe comes in, the more I learn about history in the world, the more I'm like, yeah, the Irish and Cuban in me, like my hatred for authority, distrust in authority or whatever is like, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like, there's something weird, like genetically passed down for sure.
I am very, very borderline obsessed with the Irish people these days and how much they punch above their weight for a country of 5.5 million people, 8 at the peak, and in literature, in music, how they're standing up for Palestine without reservation because of their 800 years of oppression. I'm really into that's why I asked. I'm intrigued. Where I grew up was predominantly Italian and Irish Catholic. I was the anomaly as the wasp. And
interesting.
My grandparents were German.
Do you go into that?
I get that a lot, and I can slide back into my accent. It's a very easy way to talk.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, but anyway, one of my best friends is Jimmy Fields, and I asked him. He came out for the Giants Broncos game in the fall, the fabulous fourth quarter comeback, and I asked him. We were just walking through Evergreen. I'm like, do you feel Irish, and he was like hemming and hawing a little bit, but I was just interested, because I'm not, and I'm into it. Like if I was Irish, I would be like wearing football jerseys and, celebrating that culture. Cause I think they're, the government,
but we're not really allowed to, right?
You're not?
No, it's kind of like a white gnat. It's like a...
See, my grandparents are German. I can't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I've got that kind of sides of lineage too, but like, yeah, but I do think it also falls into that. Maybe, you know what? Actually, you're right. Maybe I'm misinterpreting. Maybe with how prominent and public their ability to stand up for the oppressed has been over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe now
you could do it.
As
opposed,
because I'm thinking about me in high school.
Irish.
Yes, American Irish. Yes,
and they talk about it extensively. Like, how are you Irish in Boston?
It's way big, like,
so racist when you've forgotten your history, like what we went through as a people. Like,
you want to know how sad it is here? This is so sad. Here's how bad. If you go west as Irish descents, how bad Irish people are at passing down their lineage. I had to go to a liberal arts school in the middle of Iowa, be the only man in an honors science program class, a round table of 16 people, read a comic book about the IRA uprising and Bloody Sunday to learn that I'm a descendant of one of the first people that died that day, part of the uprising. Yes.
Yeah.
That's how bad Irish people are about, like, passing on their lineage.
And that's not even that long ago.
It's not even that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hype me.
All right. Well, England, they do this thing over there called knighting. Here at Top Shelf Studios, Lemmy is clearly a very big supporter of the show because he knows we do the hiding. All my life, people have been like, hey, I was way up there. Can I get a couple inches? Things like this because of this large form that I occupy. Now I've got this prefrontal lobe. I'm almost as smart as a lady. And I've realized, I look out in the world, I'm like, oh, this is a meat suit. And then I'm like reading and learning, and I'm like, we're all just judging each other off like the size and color and national origin and shape of our meat suits, like, and almost more than anything else. And it's just so silly to me. So after a long form human conversation, I am pleased to give you your spiritual stature or your heart height. Lemmy, how tall do you stand physically?
I am 5'11". I'm holding on to that because I am unfortunately in the shrinking phase of life. I don't know if you know that happens.
I'm excited for it.
Well, you know about how discs, you obviously know, compress. And I was last measured as an athlete at 5'11". That was my stature in the program. And I would love it if you would use your powers to sustain that for me for the rest of my life.
Well, no, I think we can do absolutely better than that because Lemmy Comedy, you are 6'11". You're carrying a foot long on you.
Thanks, man.
Of spiritual stature.
Appreciate it.
That will kind of probably require procedure at some point. I know they've already kind of been working on stuff. So. Yeah.
What they take out of you, they just give to me. Give me a couple vertebrae.
I wish I'd give it. Yeah. Oh man, if I could be like they take from me and give from my height and whatever. Yeah.
That's great.
Where can the people follow you, find you, check you out, support you doing comedy?
A great place to start is the Instagram, like it or not, Lemmy Comedy, straightforward. That is a good tool anyway. LemmyComedy.com.
Perfect.
Lemmy Comedy 303 at YouTube. But the website, LemmyComedy.com, because of this, and you were correct, I made sure I had buttons to connect to all the different podcasts and the Patreon based on a true story you can link to. That's just, I think it's Patreon/ Boats by Lemmy. So,
damn, you're going to make me come back. I had unsubscribed to all the Patrons that I had long been supporting. I'm going to come back. I'm going to have to come back and be a supporter of one.
Mine is free because
my goodness.
My 3-year plan.
Easy to join.
Let me give people a reason, right? And so, it's free, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about that. I only have one show left this spring. It's the Flipside Theater in May, which is Superior, I think.
Yeah,
and
the Flipside Theater. That's like, I think that's my would be considered right now my home venue if I had like closest.
Is that right?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been there, but like I think geographically, to my knowledge, that's the closest to where I grew up.
That's right. Producing 2 shows.
Sick.
In May. One is at my bi-monthly room is the Snowpack in Conifer, and Brad Galley is headlining that show.
Oh, yeah.
And Kelly Bowman and Jeremy Cash, the 3 of them. And then I've produced for 3 years an annual show at the Evergreen Lake House One show a year.
Whoa.
150, 160 people at the lake house. It's a lot of fun.
That is gotta be a tough ticket to get on.
It's been
that is sick.
Nova Sad, Nancy Norton, Chris Voss.
That's what I'm talking about. Have you had Dr. Kev?
I'm trying. We can talk about that offline. Is that no such thing?
No, you absolutely can. If you need my help, I would love to help. Dr. Kev is one of those people that I will always forever hold at as high as I can.
I just tried to get him, and I respected his website and went through the agent, and they just wanted too much money. And but I promised I've honored it. I've mentioned it to other comedy / producers, and they're like, local comedian, local show, you can reach out to him directly to the DMs, and it shouldn't be, because I just didn't want to offend anybody, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure he would do this show, and he can sell his books and grow his following. I mean, the room is what the room is.
The book is amazing. It started with a turtle. It's right over here.
Is it really?
You don't really believe it, but it's right there. Folks. And he'll be on this show this year. I promise you. I'm making it happen.
Yeah. So the annual show.
When is it?
That is, these are all in May.
Oh, man.
This is May.
How are you going to make me, because I have such a backlog, you're really going to make me fucking
you got
my ass to the
before
fire.
May.
God damn it.
Who do I have? Oh, Lisa Lane is doing the Evergreen Lake House with Stacey Peterson in early May. So those will all be on my Instagram. That's all I use the links for. And thank you for letting me do this. It's been a pleasure to finally meet you. And the
pleasure's all mine.
Yeah, I enjoyed listening to the podcast, and I have enormous respect for what you've done to keep this going. It's hard, man. And if I'm back in a year, I'll give your friends crap for taking this morning off. But go Pios. We'll pretend they're out partying.
Yeah. Maybe they were. Who knows?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening and watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Patreon with eating, bonus content, all that good stuff. Now I can't use my mouth for words, so we'll just sign off. Fuck off and be well.
Peace.
He doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody.